Good afternoon, everybody. And yeah, here I am making another video. I had watched a video earlier in my recommended folder, and it kind of triggered me into making this video that I am making right now. Because if I don't talk about it, it's going to eat me up inside, and I figured, what the hey. So, I don't know how many people are following the Gabby Petito case, but I just started following it a couple days ago. I don't really know too much about it, but I know that Brian Laundrie and her, they were at the Grand Teton National Park, and she had come up missing at some point in that time. So, the reason I'm making this video is Popcorn Planet, I believe his YouTube name is, channel, I think it's Popcorn Planet, had put out a video today. It's not his fault that I was triggered on this video. It was not his fault at all. But when the one guy that called regarding, I guess they seen Brian slapping Gabby. I guess he was physical with her, and he called, and the guy on the other end of the phone, he didn't take it serious, or he just didn't tell anybody, like he had said, and the cops didn't really know too much about it, I guess. I don't know, but everything has been recorded. Anyways, I guess some people thought that it was Gabby that was starting everything. No, it was Brian. You don't hit a person. You don't slap a person. You don't abuse people. You don't abuse people in any way. You have no right. Nobody has any right to put their hands on anybody. Nobody has the right to verbally abuse you at all. Some people can take it and it goes over their head, but some people, it hurts. It cuts deep. And that's why I'm on here today, you guys, because I want to tell you my story. It might take a few minutes. It might take a lot longer. But bear with me. And I want to tell you my story. I've told my story before on YouTube when I had my old YouTube channel. And that YouTube channel has been deleted. That video has been deleted. It's nowhere out there. Well, it could be out there if you were to look long and hard enough for it. But I want to update that video. Maggie? Maggie? My dog, she wants to get into, my puppy wants to get into everything. So anyways, in 1994, I married my ex-husband, my now ex-husband, which has been deceased. It was like a fairy tale romance at the beginning. A lot of love bombing going on. Didn't know what love bombing was. I was 24 years old. To this day, I want to get tested. But before I go into my story, I want to tell you about this. I want to get tested for, to see if I'm on the spectrum of autism. Because when I was younger, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, I wouldn't look people in the eye. I don't know. A lot of girls have autism. And a lot of people don't realize that girls have autism because girls hide it better than boys do. So, I don't know. I don't know. But I want to get tested about that. So anyways, going back to the abuse and all that. I met my ex-husband, like I said, in 94. We were together for 6 years. And I knew in that 6 years that I loved him, Maybe, I don't know, but I wasn't in love with him. I wasn't infatuated with him. I cared about him as a person, but who doesn't care, for people, in their daily lives that they spend hours and hours and hours with each other. So when I met him, he had just lost a job. And it was a really good job. He was almost vested. He was not far from being vested, from making very good money. So he was fired from that job, and his parents actually he owned the auction company. His parents took the auction company over, and when I met him, he took me to his mom and dad. He had me meet them, and within the month, I'm not kidding you, within the month, I was moved in with him. Now, where I had lived growing up, which is around where I live now, to where I moved to, it was an hour drive. So I couldn't just hop in the car. I couldn't tell him, hey, let's go over to my mom and dad's, because it was an hour drive. I mean, for me, that hour would have been nothing to go see my parents, but to him, it was. He right from the get-go, and when I put the puzzle pieces together, now, when I look back to when I met him, there was a lot of gaping holes that I never questioned. There was a lot of stuff that he said, he did, that, again, I did not question. Because I'm 24 years old, and this is where I was telling you about the autism, the spectrum comes from, is I wasn't experienced in life like most 24-year-olds were. Because I kept to myself, I kept behind, I didn't have a lot of friends, I didn't talk to people. And I've opened up a little more during the years as I've grown up. So anyways, when I met him, it was, like I said, it was the love bombing. And like I said, we moved in. I moved in with him fast. I moved so far away from my parents. And he started off, saying that, because we were in his vehicle and we were on our way to his place. I don't know if I think I was already living there. And he told me, he said, he started off within the first week grooming me to believe that my family didn't care for me. We were in the car and he'd be like, when you went into the bathroom, as soon as you walked into that bathroom, all your family did was badmouth you. Hope this and hope that, and I can't believe this and I can't believe that. Well, I've never known my family to do stuff like that, but he was so charismatic and so good with his words and how he worded things that I started believing him. The first time I didn't believe him, and then it was like a brainwash. I don't know if there's another word for brainwash, because I don't like the word brainwash. If there's another word out there for brainwash, please let me know, because it feels like brainwash. I mean, that's exactly what it is, but I don't know why I don't like the word. I've never really liked the word brainwash. So anyways, he told me that he didn't like my older sister, that my older sister was the B word. He badmouthed her. He pretty much had me believing, I'm serious, you guys, he had me believing that nobody cared for me. Nobody cared for me. And that's why nobody called me. When I first met him, his mom and him, they would do garage sales, and they had a store. It was an antique store, and I worked in the store, and the days that I would, some days I would work in the store, and they'd go to garage sales, like Thursday and Fridays, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, something like that. And I believe that he would go back to our apartment and delete the messages that my mom had left, because for a while there, my mom was calling me every day, or I was calling her. We were, going back and forth, calling each other. And he told me that he wanted me to stop calling her because, the bill was so much. And he said to let her call you. And I'm like, well, she does call me. He didn't want me to call her at all. And so then, the calls got fewer. And then, like I said, they were going out to these garage sales. I think they were going back to our place, and he was deleting the messages because my mom would call all the time and leave messages and tell me stuff that was kind of important to me, because at that time I had a lot of military stuff going on because I was in basic training and all that. And I think he was deleting all these messages. The calls got fewer, and then the calls stopped. They literally stopped within like a 2 or 3 week period, maybe a month period. I can't remember. I gotta put my phone down, you guys. My hand's getting tired. Sorry. So, anyways, like I said, the calls stopped. And I was always really good with writing, and when I was a kid, I had like an imagination like you wouldn't believe. And I used to write these stories, and I remember my teachers telling my mom, she's got an imagination like you wouldn't believe. And I still always had this imagination, as I had gotten older, because I kept to myself. I kept thoughts to myself growing up and everything. So anyways, back to him. It was the first December. It was the first December that because I met him in May. It was that December I had wanted to go see my parents, and he said okay, because I told him I wanted to go see them on Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve, and he goes, well, we'll do Christmas because my mom and dad like to go to the movies on Christmas Eve. So we went to the movies on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day came, and we didn't go. And I can't even remember what, because this was back in '94, you guys, and I can't remember what the excuse was. And I told my mom and dad, because Christmas, Thanksgiving and Christmas were two big holidays in my family. They were two big holidays that we always spent a lot of time with them, my family. So time goes by, and I'm not getting nothing. I'm not hearing from anybody in the family, period. I mean, nobody. And my ex-mother-in-law would always say, I can't believe your mom must not even care about you. She doesn't even pick up the phone to call you or anything. And his mom was in on this with my ex-husband. They were both narcissists. And I'm telling you, narcissistic abuse is real. And I'm telling you guys, I'm not telling you the whole story of my past abuse. It's too much. But what I'm trying to get at with this story is this Brian Laundrie, I think, was doing the same thing with Gabby that my ex-husband did with me. And a lot of people are like this with their spouses or their, girlfriends or boyfriends. And it's not just men, you guys. It's not just the male race doing it to females. Females do it as well. They do it as well. I've seen quite a few female narcissists, and I'm telling you one thing. This was after I left my ex-husband. I would have loved to backhand these women, because, I'm in the store and I see these women talking down so hard to their spouses, and I'm like, really? Really? It angered me, because I know what it's like to go through that abuse. I went days, I went nights crying my eyes out because I wanted to see my parents. Every Christmas and every Thanksgiving, I would cry because, I missed my parents, I missed my family. And he would always, my ex-husband would always tell me, out of sight, out of mind, and it never got any better. I mean, it got less, I got less emotional about it, but I still thought about my parents. You don't forget your parents, especially when you're ripped away from your family and you're groomed right away to believe that your family doesn't care about you. My ex-husband, he wasn't really physical. He was verbal, he was emotionally abusive, he was mentally abusive, he was sexually abusive, narcissistically abusive, every probably, and I was even gaslighted. I was gaslighted by him, I was gaslighted by his mom. Um and I know a lot of people overuse the word gaslighting, but look it up. Gaslighting is not what a lot of people think it is. Gaslighting is trying to make people think that they're going crazy when they're really not. They're trying to. It's very hard to explain. It's very hard to explain. There's a bunch of people on YouTube that explain narcissism, gaslighting, and all that, and they can explain it better than me because see, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist or anything. There are people out there that can explain it better than me. I'm not the best person at explaining things like that. But yeah, it was hard for the 17 years that I was with him. The first 6 years was hard. I always told myself I'm not gonna marry him. I don't love him enough to marry him. I was tricked, I guess you would say, into marrying him. I was tricked into a lot of things with him. He started making me not believing myself and not believing things that I could do. Like I said earlier, I loved to write and I was good at it. And I wrote something for him one time and he goes, "That's not really good. That's not really, you should see my writing." And he made me stop writing. I stopped writing because I didn't think I was any good at it. I didn't think I was any good at it, you guys. So I stopped writing. I stopped losing my passion. I lost my passion for love. I lost my passion for life. I lost a lot of me. I was not me in that 17 years because I lost myself because he tried to change me. His mom tried to change me. It's really hard, and I'm telling you, it's really hard when you come out of an abusive relationship, especially one that you have been broken down and just broken into a million pieces. It's hard to come out of these relationships going back to your old self and being with people that you haven't seen in a long time. You guys, I went through a grieving process, and that grieving process, it lasted 2 months. It was hard because he and his family was all I knew. For 17 years, I didn't see my family. I didn't see them. So I didn't know them. I had to relearn everybody. I had to not learn everybody. I had to figure out. To me, I wanted to figure out who everybody else was before I figured out who I was. Because I didn't know who I was. Because I wasn't the cheerful, loving, bubbly hope that I used to be. And he tore me down. He talked down to me. He belittled me. He berated me. Like I said, he abused me in so many ways that, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm tearing up because this is really hard, very hard to talk about. He, the things he did, the things he would say, the stuff that he would say would cut so deep. Because where I was from, he grew up in a better neighborhood than I did. And, just because you live in a better neighborhood than I do, though, doesn't mean it does not make you a better person. Somebody could come out of a city that is the most horrible city in the world, and they can achieve more than somebody that's come out of a mansion. It's how you perceive your life. It's how you move forward in life. Me, I never had a chance to move. You guys, I never had a chance to move forward in life, because they say that when you are abused, a lot of times you revert. You don't grow up. You don't grow up emotionally and mentally. Sorry, you guys, I gotta move. You don't like I said, you don't grow up emotionally and mentally. Even though you are growing old, you're not growing as old as you should be. Like when I got out of that 17-year relationship, I still felt like a 24-year-old. It's like I didn't get to grow mentally. I didn't get to grow emotionally. I lost a lot in life. I really did. I lost. Even though I thought I gained, I didn't, you guys. I didn't. I lost a lot in life. And it really sucks to go through life knowing, well, after the fact, like now, knowing that if you didn't go into that relationship to begin with, sorry, you guys, I got carpal tunnel in both of my hands and it's hurting. But anyways, it's hard to go through life knowing after the fact, like I said, that it takes a while for you to grow up. It takes a while for you to grow out and expand your horizons and do things. I will tell you a few things that he had did to me. This video is already turning into 22 minutes, and I didn't want it to be that long. Again, he would always tell me, when he'd get mad at me, he'd always be like, why don't you just go back to, where you're from? He goes, oh, that's right, your parents don't care enough about you, so you're stuck with me. And that's something he would always say. Another thing he would always say is, I'm going to get on a rooftop with a gun and shoot you. Or he would say something like, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to bury you up north where God can't even remember he has land, or something like to the fact of that. And it used to scare me. He used to scare me so much. And a lot of times it got to the point where they were empty threats. They were empty threats. And when the empty threats didn't bother me anymore, like with some of them, he would go after other threats. When the threats didn't even bother me at all, he started getting more, I don't know if this would be mental or emotional, but there would be times where he would argue with me, he'd get mad at me, and a lot of times I closed up. I didn't want to argue. I just didn't want to argue. I would sit there and he would yell and yell and yell for, oh my God, it would seem like it would be a half an hour. And I wouldn't open my mouth. Nowadays, they say it's kind of like gray rocking. And I didn't know what gray rock meant until like over these past couple of years. And I would literally like listen to him, but I would ignore him. I wouldn't answer him back. I would just close my mouth. I would not say nothing. But anyways, it got to the point where I would be in the kitchen doing something, and he'd go in there. He'd open up the flatware drawer, and he would take out a fork, and he would put it right up to my forehead. And he would tell me that he would always say, don't piss me off, or this is going in your skull. And he would tell me that all the time. If I was right about something and he was wrong and it would piss him off, whatever he had in his hand, he would throw at me. One time it was a dictionary. One time it was a roll. It could be the smallest thing, or it could be the biggest thing. He threw a pan at me one time because I was boiling water because I wanted to make tea, or was it tea or soup? I can't remember. Well, I got sidetracked, as a lot of people do, and the pan kind of boiled down to like nothing. And he got mad at me. He came into the kitchen, took the pan, and threw it at me. And I was like, to me, I thought I was doing so many things wrong that it was okay for him to do these things. And then it got to the point where I couldn't handle it no more. I mean, I started getting panic attacks. And then one time, I didn't want to have any sexual intercourse with him anymore because it was painful. To me, it was painful. I didn't love him anymore. And he would literally push me down and get on top of me. And I didn't like that. But I would take it because I was like, I thought to myself, I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody to talk to because I didn't have my family anymore. And then one time, it got so bad that he took our marriage certificate and he ripped it up and said, we're no longer married. He said, it's your duty as a wife to, have sexual intercourse. And and one time he threw a glass picture frame at me. It was sad. I mean, that's when the glass picture frame was when I knew I was in a lot of trouble. I remember that glass picture frame shattering. My body went numb. And I was like, I need to get out of here. It took me a few years to get out, but it did. You guys, this video is 26 minutes long. But you get the drift. You get the story. If you have any questions, just feel free to leave them below and I can answer you. But this video, is, like I said, is getting too long. I don't want to be on here forever. I'm sure you're probably bored with this video already. So I'm going to get off here and maybe I'll make part 2 tomorrow. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see part 2, let me know and I will post a part 2. If you guys are not yet subscribed, please subscribe and hit that bell so you guys can be notified of my next video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.